All right, everybody, and we're back with part 2 where we're going to interview on purpose with Danae. I believe that's how you pronounce her name. We'll double check. I'm going to give her a call right now and talk business. Hopefully my phone don't trip.
Hi.
Hey, this is Juwan and Mike from the Misguided Podcast. How's it going?
Good. How are you?
Good. Hey, I was actually wondering how to pronounce your name. I don't want to mess it up throughout the podcast. Is it pronounced Danae?
Yep, you got it right.
Oh, perfect. Okay, perfect.
Good work.
So I'm Juwan, so you get used to our voices, and
Yeah, how's it going today? This is Mike.
Hi. Nice to meet you both.
Yeah, nice to meet you as well.
nice to meet you. Where are you located?
I'm in Fort Lauderdale. I'm originally from California, but I've lived here in Florida for about 7 years now.
Oh, nice. Where in Cali you from?
I was born and raised in Bakersfield, and then I moved to Northern California. I graduated from UC Davis in Northern California, and then I moved to Florida after that.
Okay, what was the reason for the move to Florida?
I actually got an internship after college, so I was working for a creative studio out here. And then after the internship, I got hired full-time, so that kind of made me stay. And then from there, I moved on and got different jobs.
Oh, that's super cool. Well, I was glad to, that you're from Cali. You know, we're from Northern California, if you didn't know. We're from the Bay Area, so.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we know all about, like, UC Davis and stuff like that. What'd you study at UC Davis?
So I got my bachelor's degree in communications, and then I got a minor in women and gender studies.
Okay. Doing big things. That's cool.
Doing big things. Yeah, congrats on your success. Congrats on your business success as well. We're happy to have you on.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I'm definitely happy to be on your podcast. I'm looking forward to the conversation that we have, and I also love what you guys are doing, so big up to you guys, too.
Yeah,
Thank you so much. We appreciate that.
Yeah, I do. We really do appreciate that. So it's funny. So I actually heard about you on the Side Hustle podcast.
Oh.
Yeah, so I listened to that. I think Carla Marie is her name. And I heard you talking on there. And I was like, oh, that would be a great opportunity, you know, get her up here. Her story sounds cool, and it's kind of like in the midst of everything happening in America. And you know, as two young Black entrepreneurs over here, we'd love to connect with other Black entrepreneurs and hear their story and struggles and all that. So
yeah, I'm sure we're all going through the same type of thing, so definitely a good opportunity to connect and kind of uplift each other and just share, bounce ideas off each other and learn how you're handling the adversity the same way that we are during a difficult time. So
so
thank you. I'm glad.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, I'm glad you guys listened to the podcast, because I know at one point I had mentioned that I don't even know any other Black, I think I said female, but just Black period, young entrepreneurs or business owners.
Yeah.
So I'm glad that we're able to connect now and, help each other, as you mentioned.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think that's key. Like, literally the last couple weeks, I've just been, I have like an Excel sheet with all Black-owned businesses in like the whole Bay Area, and when I'm going out, I'll just look up a Black-owned business and try and support as best as I can.
Definitely.
I know definitely Mike has been doing that.
Yeah,
so
been doing something
similar. He posts the same thing. So we're just trying to help. And I mean, so like the whole purpose of our podcast is, to guide the people in a better direction. That's why it's called the Misguided Podcast. We're just here to, share our knowledge, our ups and downs, and just share the stuff they really don't teach us in school. Like, and that's pretty much the purpose. And I love the name of your business, On Purpose with Danae. So, they fall in line, similar category.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, so we'll go ahead and get started. We'll just kind of tell you a little bit about ourselves, very briefly, just so you know what we do as entrepreneurs, and then we'll go ahead and dive into your story if that's okay.
Yeah, sounds great.
Cool. So yeah, like I said, my name is Juwan. I'm from the Bay Area. Out of college, I got into construction, and then actually got a job at, I guess you would call it my 9 to 5 at Coca-Cola. So I work at Coca-Cola during the day. And then my entrepreneurial endeavors include owning a car rental business, diving into real estate. I'm also a musician, and I also have a clothing brand, Till Infinity Clothing. So I do a bunch of stuff. What else? Oh, in the podcast. Yeah, I'm pretty much just an entrepreneur all around. But that's pretty much where I spend my time. And then as far as Mike, you wanna...
Yeah. So I was after college I started working at Coca-Cola. As well, actually, that's how Juwan ended up getting the job. So I have very similar backgrounds, we're really close friends. And then I started a car rental business that's has been very successful over the past 2 years. And in addition to that, I have a few Airbnb properties. I started a really successful business on Airbnb as well. I also wrote an ebook showing people how they can run a business similar to mine. So I guess you could include writer in that, and
author.
Author.
Yeah, more professional.
And then other than that, like I do a lot with investing and just a little bit into stocks and things like that, and learning a lot about real estate, which is going to be a big focus of mine going forward into the future. But yeah, that's a brief background.
Yep.
Wow, you guys have such a well-rounded background, and you do a lot. That's super cool.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
It means a lot
that.
too, because it's kind of hard, finding time to spread out amongst all of it. I mean, me and Mike have been talking about investing in real estate for almost a year now, and we still have other stuff, so it just takes time. And then the coronavirus hit.
Man, I'm still waiting to get my taxes back. Man.
Yeah, so we're like, but yeah, I mean, it is. I think the good point you mentioned is that it's very diverse. Like, our background is very diverse, and we do a lot of stuff. And I think that's kind of key. It looks like you do a lot of stuff too, as well as traveling and stuff. But I'll let you get into that and all that. So, so we can start with first, just what exactly do you do? Share with the audience on what you do.
Yeah. So I do a lot of things. I have a 9 to 5 job. I work in communications, corporate communications. So I work for a large company that's located here in South Florida, and I actually handle all of their internal and external communications, as well as managing all of the social media for the CEO as well as the overall brand. So that's like my day job. And then I also recently started On Purpose with Danae, which is essentially my way of being able to encourage others, inspire others, and empower them to live life with intention and purpose. And so what that really means is I'm just trying to use my voice. So I'm still navigating, how the business is going to run in the future, but I just knew I needed to get started, especially during this whole quarantine time. I had a lot of time to think and reflect, and so this sort of just came out of nowhere, although it's been in my heart. But I actually put the pen to paper and was like, let's do this. So my goal is to be able to continue to motivate people and use my voice, whether it's through starting webinars. I'd like to eventually launch a podcast like you all are doing. And then once we're able to be out in public, I'd like to actually do more motivational speaking.
Gotcha.
So that's sort of my long-term goal for On Purpose with Danae. I also have merch that I sell, which is just an added bonus. Yeah, so just fun stuff I like to create and sell that way. And then I also am the co-founder of another company called Barcobite, which is an organic dog treat company.
Yeah, I saw that. That's actually, I was very interested in that.
That's super interesting.
When I heard that on the Side Hustlers, so that's really cool.
Yeah, that's with my business partner Annie. So we do organic dog treats, and then I I also am a writer, so I do a lot of writing. I had a company which I sort of put on hold just because of what's going on, but it was called Jarrett Editorial, and what I did was just help people with their writing abilities, whether it's like editing, creating content for their website, writing articles. But that's very time consuming, so I kind of just stopped that for now. Hopefully, eventually, I'll get back to it. And then that's sort of all of my business ventures at the moment. And like you said, I might create things in the future. It's just a matter of actually doing it, because I feel like over the years I've had so many cool and creative ideas, but I just don't execute.
Yeah, no, hey, I know exactly what you mean. I know exactly what you mean. Yeah, well, all that sounds great. Yeah, that's a lot of stuff. A lot of stuff you do. So you're well diverse as well, which is brilliant, because we talked about it on previous podcasts. But it's very good to be diverse, especially in a time like now where coronavirus. Like, if you just had a restaurant, you're shut down. Your business is shut down. But if you had a restaurant and you had other things that you were doing on the side, maybe those other things on the side can fund the 3 months that you weren't able to make any money. So that's very good, and I love to see that from another Black person, entrepreneur. So I respect it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I think it's really cool that you're trying to start something to where you're motivating others and trying to help other people find their purpose, the way that you're doing with your own life. I think that's really cool. I also think that the organic dog treat company that you mentioned is really cool as well. I think that's there's a huge market for that. So I wanted to know what was your inspiration behind that business.
So Annie and I used to work together. The company I mentioned before that I was interning at, that's where we met, and we sort of came up with the idea together and just took it from there. So I don't do as much as I used to now. I'm trying to focus on like a lot of other things that I really am passionate about. And for me, at this point in my life, I realized through this period is that like my purpose is to really help people.
Gotcha.
So that's sort of why I'm putting so much emphasis and so much focus and so much of my time into pouring into others, so that it can then, build their lives and build the people who they have influence with, and, sort of spread in that way. Because, to be honest, in the future, it's going to be us, and then if we have kids, and our kids, and then their kids. So just, setting that foundation with others who may not have it is what's, like, completely, so important to me right now.
Gotcha. So yeah, it sounds like On Purpose with Danae, you're kind of motivational speaking and things like that is what you're really passionate about. So that's what you're mostly focused on is kind of using your voice to kind of guide others.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's great. I love that, and I love the names that you created. The Bag-O Bite, or the Bag-O Bite for the dog treats, and then On Purpose with Danae. They're very strong and simple and to the point. And I love that. Can you give us a little background on how you kind of came up with the name On Purpose with Danae? I mean, I get where you're going with it, but give a little story on how that came up.
Yeah. So I was in a spot where I wasn't sure what I wanted it to be called. Because I didn't mention this in my intro, but I travel a lot. Whether it's through work or personal, I just love to get out and travel, and I've learned so much in my traveling experience. So I'm in this weird place where my website is DanaeTravels.com, but when you get there, it's On Purpose with Danae.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to navigate, or sort of infuse the two, because I feel like I am Danae Travels. I'm the one who's traveling, but On Purpose with Danae is that other side of me where I am inspiring others. So I kind of want to merge the two. I'm just in the process of working that out. But that name, On Purpose, I just wanted to make sure that, like, I'm being intentional with everything I do. whether it's what's coming out of my mouth, my actions, everything. I want to be intentional with it, which is where that on purpose came from. And then, a lot of times we don't put our name in things for whatever reason.
Well,
and I
that's
kind of
true.
talked about this in other podcasts. Is like, for a long time, I was like hiding behind my project because I didn't want people to see that I was a Black female. And that's horrible. Like, just saying that is horrible to say, but it's my honest truth of how I felt. And so at this point, I was like, you know what? It doesn't matter. I am who I am. Like, you're going to see me. You're going to see my name. You're going to have to say my name every time you refer my business. So people will be like, well, who is Danae? So I want people to know who I am because that's my purpose. Like, my purpose is to help you, and I want you to know that this is coming from me. So that's a small, short story of how that name came about.
I love that. Wow, I was not expecting that actually. With the putting your name in that, that's really cool.
Yeah,
it makes me want to change my business name. I was Till Infinity Juwan sound. Yeah, but I really like that. That's strong, and it's not a dig, but I feel like it's a FU to the white people. So, but I love it. Yeah.
Man, that's a good story. Very very interesting how you said you originally like didn't want to have your name on there because you didn't want to know that it was like people to know it was a Black female behind it. So that's really real. I thought that was really a very interesting thing that you touched on. Like I've had like experiences like that kind of with Airbnb, not so much as like I've never been fearful to put my to kind of put my face out there or anything, but like I do know like there's a stigma like with Black people on Airbnb and things like that, people not wanting to rent to Black people, as well as people not wanting to to book with a Black host. So I felt that myself, and I've definitely felt that like being fearful of like oh, are people not gonna want to book with me because they see that it's a Black person hosting this home and stuff like that. So I definitely get where you're coming from that, and I'm glad you shared that with us on the podcast.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, definitely. But my other question to you was like, obviously COVID has affected a lot of us entrepreneurs. So I wanted you to kind of expand a little bit on how it's affected your businesses and how you're overcoming the effects of COVID while being an entrepreneur.
Yeah. I would say even though most people have sort of a negative impact, I would say that mine has been completely positive only because I started it during this whole thing, right? So had I started, before this, I might have a different answer. But I think for me, it's actually, I've had the opportunity to work from home, with my 9-to-5 job. So that has allowed me to be able to multitask and do more and focus on these things. So I've had more time. I've had the ability to create more and to really just be in my zone because, quite frankly, when you're in the office space, it can be hard to do other things, right? If my focus is completely on that. And then by the time I get home, I only have a couple hours before I go to bed. But during this season, like, I have more time to actually create or come up with designs or whatever it is, think through my next move. So I guess I've adapted in that. And then I'm just trying to think of maybe something that may have been a challenge. I don't know, because I think a lot of the things that I do are in e-commerce, so everything's completely online anyway, so I think that I have an advantage at this point.
Yeah, that's very true. Do you do any advertising?
All my advertising is organic, so, everything through social media. I'm not doing any paid efforts at this time, because also I'm testing and learning, right? So I want to see, like, hey, if I put this out, am I getting this engagement? Let me try this strategy. Let me market myself this way and see what works out. And even things have just been happening without me necessarily being proactive towards them. So, for example, the conversation I had with Carla Marie, her reaching out to me during this period to have just a conversation led to other things where people started buying my products, or just getting that exposure, and then now you all reaching out because you listen. So I feel like there's just this domino effect of like people are like
word of mouth.
me, and word of mouth, conversations, and then also me using my voice. So I'm very grateful for that.
Yeah, that's amazing. I did take a peek at your website before, and I saw like the tote bag and the backpack. I think those would be great items for you kind of test the Facebook advertising. I think you could do really well, especially in the summertime. So I would look into that and do some studying on that. I think that could really shoot your business up and get you some more revenue. I'm all about the advice.
Yeah. So. Thank you, I appreciate it. Yeah, I can definitely try that. I do paid advertising for my 9 to 5, so it's more like I'm trying to do the least expensive way. To maximize my exposure, but I definitely need to just invest and try that.
Well, yeah, and I get that. I think you could probably spend like less than $200 to $100 a month on advertisement and do really well and get obviously more revenue from that. So it would overcome what your expenses, but it would be something you'd have to kind of study. I mean, me and Mike have taken courses on Facebook ads. It's not easy. It is time consuming, but I just want to share that. I think it could help because I did like your product on the website. So.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I will definitely try. I appreciate that.
Of course. Okay, so I did want to get into, we talked about your struggles during the coronavirus, but then during the coronavirus, we also had crazy amounts of police brutality and just, Black people being targeted. So I want to know your struggles as a Black woman, a Black businesswoman. What are some struggles besides the name, you fearing to put your name on paper? What are some struggles that you faced or fear in the future?
I would say I've dealt with, I think it's more fear, and I don't know if I'm just internalizing this. I've just had fear with, doing new things and starting new things, whether I show my face or not. And I don't want to, blame it on other people because I am ultimately making, the final decision not to. But sometimes I doubt myself, and I feel like, oh man, people are not going to like what I do, or people might not like what I say, so then I will, reserve my full thought or my full, execution of whatever I'm doing, just because I'm just hesitant on, and it could be a lot of things, it could be acceptance, it could be, it roots from, just thinking back to being a child, being, a Black child, and I have to have my hair a certain way, I have to look a certain way, I have to talk a certain way to be accepted. And also and I think the reason I feel this way is because I did those things and I was accepted. So I knew that it worked.
Do you feel that with your 9 to 5 as well? Is there a difference from your 9 to 5? You work in communications, you work for a company versus your own entrepreneurship. Do you kind of feel the same struggles as a Black woman?
Yeah, I do. I felt it earlier in my career, not so much what I do now, because I feel like my level of work that I produce is good, and I want to say this in the most...
go ahead, Queen. Go ahead. Talk to him.
Non-talking way, but my work speaks for itself. Regardless of what I look like, you don't even know who I am, and you will know that what I did was quality. So I think that making sure that everything I do is at 110%, and that the quality of work that I produce is on another level, that speaks for itself. So you can try to tear me down if you want, but it's not going to work, because when it comes to business and, working in these companies and corporations, if your work is good, like, it doesn't matter. Like, they want, at the end of the day, it's all about the bottom line, right? If you're driving the bottom line and you're bringing profit, they're going to want you to do what you're doing, right?
Right.
So I think for me, when I learned that, when I knew that, okay, going into this job, they're going to want me because of the work that I do. And because I'm Black, it's going to help them, right? So, like, that's like a second thing. But at the end of the day, for me, my work is good. It's gonna take me to the next level. And then it's just like, I just so happen to be Black. But when I'm not in that 9 to 5 thing, it's like I'm Black. Like, I feel like that's the first thing. So it's a different dynamic, and it can be challenging and frustrating. I just feel like maybe because of my younger experience with having to adapt to those things have really, like, I don't know, challenge is a good word, but they really helped me to think through, like, who I am, what I'm doing, and, what I'm doing for a company versus what I'm doing for myself. So, it's complex.
No, I totally understand. I understand. I could kind of see that in my 9 to 5 versus my entrepreneurship endeavors. I kind of see, like, in the 9 to 5, it's like, okay, it's about the bottom line, I'm a salesman, so hit your numbers, and then that's what we're looking at. Oh, and you're Black. And then it's like with the entrepreneur stuff, it's like, nah, like, I'm a Black-owned business. It's not business-owned Black. Like, so it's like, I'm a Black person that owns a business. Now I actually have to do extra work to meet that bottom line. I could see, like, the difference. So how you feel, Mike? Would you say the same when you were working at Coke? Kind of, or anything kind of with that idea?
Yeah, I mean, I would definitely say that, especially being in the corporate world, I think, like, being Black is definitely, like, it's
they try and push it under the rug. I kind of feel like
exactly. It's like it's weird because it's like they don't really talk about it.
That's what I'm saying. Like, they don't want to mention Black. They don't want to mention Black in the office. But then when we start our own businesses, it's like, oh, Black. Like, you go to Trap Art, it's like Black. You know what I mean? Like, definitely. Sorry, Trap Art's like a really Black festival type of thing where they have, like, Black-owned businesses come and share their art, and it's really fucking cool. If you're ever in the Bay Area, you should check out. They actually do it they do it all over the world now. I don't know if they do it in Florida.
Oh, okay.
I think they do it in Miami, but
I'm gonna check it out.
but yeah. So I totally agree with that. That's really cool. Thank you for sharing that.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I just wanted to know if there's anything else you wanted to mention whether it be in the corporate world or just starting your entrepreneurial endeavors. What type of adversity do you face on a daily basis? What type of adversity have you faced with starting your businesses, and how do you overcome that adversity, and how would you advise others in your situation who are listening and trying to do things like you're doing to deal with that? Because being a business owner in itself is difficult, and then obviously adding the fact that you're a minority and a female adds a lot to that as well. So I just wanted to kind of touch on that a little bit.
Yeah, I think I face my challenges also because I feel like when I say, okay, or I go out on my personal, business ventures, and I'm doing this, and I am a Black female, like, I feel like I reach a ceiling. Right? Like, I reach this ceiling where I'm like, all right, I'm doing all this, like, I got the marketing going, the product is good, everything's good, but then when I want to take it to the next level, I hit the ceiling, and the ceiling is hit because I'm Black. So it's like, you almost need, like, your allies to be the ones to get you in the room, right? And this kind of goes with, like, networking and, talking to other people, because I can be selfish in this way. I'm completely aware of it, but at the end of the day, I would have my white counterpart friend get something connected get it going, and then I can go in and, like, seal the deal and get it going, right?
Yeah, I understand.
And then from there, that helps me win, or it helps us both win, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I feel like I also need that, and it's like leverage to help me to go, to beat that ceiling or to break that ceiling.
Yeah.
And it kind of goes in the corporate world too, right? Like, so we have mentors and people we look up to, but you also need to have that sponsor. And that sponsor, someone once told me, the sponsor is the person that can get you from that position that you're in to the next position that's part of your career goal, right? So our mentors can help us and guide us and give us all this advice and things to do, which is completely excellent and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
But you also need that sponsor to actually be the one in the room saying, all right, pull Danae up, she needs to be in that position.
Gotcha.
And from there, for me, those sponsors in my life have been Black sometimes, but a lot of the times they're also my white or just non-Black, counterpart who was able to who has that network already and then gets me in there.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, one of my big mentors in the corporate world was he hired me for my second job at Coke when I got promoted, and he kind of helped lead the way with a lot of stuff. And I noticed that on a lot of the sales meetings that we went to, and he was a white man, and he was a little bit we were on the same age, but a lot of deals that I wasn't able to close on my own, especially in like higher end or like gentrified areas. He would come in and help me with those. He would come into the meetings with me like the next day, and it would be a whole different vibe. So I kind of get what you're saying with that whole like you having like sponsors or mentors that are kind of helping you get your foot in the door with certain connections, and then you being able to like, okay, now you help me get in, but now I'm gonna take it the rest of the way. So I definitely have felt that and experienced that mostly on the corporate level, being surrounded by because like especially where I was working, there weren't a lot of us in that field, so I can definitely connect with what you're saying.
Yeah, and we just had 2 Black people leave, so now it's definitely not a lot in there.
Yeah, I think it goes both ways too, right? Because I've seen situations where my white counterpart wanted to do something with a Black business owner, and it's like, well, you need that Black person too to be like, no, it's cool, So even if I'm not just in the room, it could just literally be my presence. I don't even have to say anything, but I'm in the room, and it's crazy because the society we live in is like everything is all about what you see or who you see. Like, that's first impression, right?
Yeah.
So you go in and, like, even me, if I'm in a meeting and I see, like, a white guy, a Black girl, a Black guy, and, like, I don't know, anyone else, I'm just, like, I see that Black guy, I'm like, all right, cool. I feel a little bit I feel more ease in the meeting. And it's crazy that it works that way, but, like, in America, that's how it is. So I feel like, white people have to have the same thing if they're coming, or trying to get something, a partnership or whatever it is with the Black business.
Right. Yeah, I definitely get that. It's
that's
crazy how things work that way, but then you got people that say they don't see color, but it's kind of present in everything, especially in situations like that. It kind of goes back to what me and Juwan were saying a few minutes ago. I don't know if you feel that same situation, but it was like weird how it was kind of like an unspoken thing. Like I always felt that way, and
it's either there's no middle ground. It's either very unspoken and
it's very like overt.
Yeah. It's like there's no like I've seen it at Coca-Cola. Like I think right now we got like 2 Black people, right, in our like sales group of like 20 maybe. And, like, we go to the meetings, and it's kind of just, like, very unspoken. But then you'll get that, like, boss that's, like, like, I'm out here, with the protest, doing my work, trying to, like, brag that he's, like, helping the Black people. And, like, and then you get the people who don't really want to talk about the protests at the meetings, that don't really want to mention the word Black because they're scared of how they might come off, even though they could be an ally, Yeah. But it's just there's no middle ground, and I'm not quite sure like how we take steps.
Well, that's one of the issues. I mean, there definitely just needs to be more of a comfortability with people being able to talk about race, talk about inequality. Like It's because, and big reason why it is because people don't want to admit that there is inequality in the workplace. They don't want to admit that that there's a vast disparity with the amount of white people that are in corporate, working for high paying corporate jobs compared to black people. So that's why we get that unspokenness. That's why we get that awkwardness, that it's obviously there but just not talked about. So that's just that's what go ahead.
I think that there's also this level of privilege too, where I've talked to a lot of like different white people, and like they didn't know that they had privilege, which is it's crazy to me, but I'm not white, so like I don't know, but it's crazy to me that you don't know. But once like all this stuff has been going viral about like explaining what privilege is and really dumbing it down, so like you actually know. Like that, I think that has helped a lot of white people like really understand like, oh shoot, I really do have privilege, and I had no clue. So I think like that has helped, and I think that will continue to help. People who obviously you've got to like actively like you've got to be anti-racist. So I mean, it just I don't know. It's hard to.
No, definitely.
To think through, but I definitely think that people understanding what privilege is and understanding that you have privilege is like so key.
Absolutely. The more
that's true. I think that
exactly. The more you understand it, the more the more we'll be able to advance ourselves, as a society, and that's what this whole movement is about. That's going, and it's up to people like us to make sure that this movement doesn't just go away as a trend, and it just keeps going on, because that people like you said, like a lot of white people don't understand what privilege is. A lot of people fail to see that it exists. But if you're able to kind of open your eyes and kind of put yourself in other situations and kind of look at the situation outside of yourself, then you'll kind of be able to understand a whole lot more.
Yeah. We gotta educate them. That's what the podcast is for. Gotta guide them.
You guys are definitely doing your part.
Trying. Yeah, these conversations help though, because the white ally listening, trying to figure out how they can help without overstepping any boundaries or whatever, needs this education, this information that we spitting game right now. You feel me? Spitting hot fire. But yeah, I appreciate it. So I wanna kind of get back to a little happier mood. Where do you see yourself in the next 5 years? I know you spoke about where you see the direction of your company, but let's talk like a little bit more in the details. Where do you see yourself with your entrepreneurship in about 5 years?
Wow, 5 years.
I know it's hard. It's hard to think.
I know, that's like, yeah, I'm trying to get to like
you're trying to get to 2021 because it's coronavirus.
Yeah, I'm trying to get out of quarantine. So, no, but on a serious note, in 5 years, I would say I see myself. Okay, so I have my dreams, and I know my dreams. Like I have a history of my dreams coming true. But also, I put a lot of work in to make these dreams come true. But my dream would be just to travel the world, that's all I do is travel, because for me, I learn the most when I travel. Like my eyes are open to so many, different types of people, situations, cultures, traditions, like ideas for business, ways I could help other people. Like all that stuff stems from my travel, travel experiences from I was a young girl to now in my adult life, and so ultimately that is my end goal. I don't know if that's in 5 years or 10 years, but like that's my end goal. And so I'm constantly striving to make that happen. And part of that is stepping into my purpose and stepping into what I'm doing now, to help people. So I'm hoping that I can do that full time. And with that, I would love to continue blogging and sharing those experiences, because there are so many people that I know, and I'm sure you all know people too, who've never left their neighborhoods, like who've never been out of the state, who've never they have no desire because they don't even know what it's like.
Yeah, they're sheltered in place before the shelter in place.
Yes, if you're speaking, yes, that is so true. I feel like there's so many people that are in that situation, and my purpose is to to show them that there's more.
Yeah.
And to see, like, we all have our own circle of influence. We all have people who we know who will only believe what we say as opposed to someone they don't know.
Yeah.
So if I'm taking my personal experience and I'm showing you that, hey, while I was in Italy, this happened, and this is real, and, like, I had this incredible time, or I was in Israel, and it's beautiful. It's different than what you see on the news. Like, I'm able to show that in my personal experiences. For me, I'm winning because other people are like, wow, if Danae did that, I can do it too.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
I just want people to be inspired and to, like, I don't want you to die and be like, I never did anything. I never learned anything. I never saw anything. Like, if I can do my little job and plant those little seeds, then my job is done.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that point. Somebody once told me travel is the cure to all ignorance, and I try to encourage people to travel as much as possible. I love to travel. It's probably one of the biggest thing that's been the biggest hindrance from this quarantine for me is not being able to travel and see other countries and things like that. And Juwan's the same way. We travel together and things like that. But yeah, I love the point you made, because when you're able to get out of your comfort zone, get out of your bubble, and you go to another country. And you see the other way people live, the other things people are doing to survive, the beauty in other countries, the culture, the joy that you see in other people that have so much less than you do. That's where real knowledge comes from. That's where you can't be ignorant when you see when you see other things outside of like the way that you're accustomed to. And that's a lot of people are kind of stuck in their bubble, or haven't been able to see a lot, and by being able to experience these other things and seeing how different this world really is outside of where you are, it definitely helps a lot.
That's facts. That is facts. Okay, we're gonna be ending shortly, but I want to see if you have anything to say to the audience, kind of a short message or short, motivational quote or whatever that will stick out to the people, that really sticks out with you, and kind of end it there, and then we'll get into our quick guided conclusion section, and that would be it. But yeah, do you have any, message you want to share to the people?
The only thing I want to say is, if there's something that you have been, like, really thinking about doing or trying or experiencing, like, and this is so cliche, but, like, now's the time to do it. Whatever that is, even if it's just in your mind, put it on paper, write it down so that you can see it and it can be visible. And that's a method to hold yourself accountable for. Because once you write it down, like, now it's on paper. Like, now it needs to happen. So whatever it is that you're thinking about doing, you might not have all the answers. You might not know all the steps to take. Like, that stuff, you'll figure it out. But just write it down and get started.
That's facts.
Absolutely.
Definitely. I respect that. Yeah. Good job, Danae. We usually end each podcast with a section called Guided Conclusions. And it's pretty much, it could be funny, serious, however you want to go. But we usually ask each other one question to kind of give the audience an idea of, who we are and who our character is. I have a question that I'd like to ask you and Mike. You and Mike. And then you guys can answer. And then if you have a question that you want to ask us, that would be great. If you don't and you want to end it on my question, that's perfectly fine. My question is, one word. Can you think of one word that explains how you feel right now, your emotions? And I'll go ahead and start and give you an idea. That way you can think about it a little bit. I'll give you an idea. So one word, kind of how I feel right now, is help. The reason why I'm saying help is because I've seen a lot. Just take this for example. The last month, ever since the George Floyd thing has happened, tragic thing that happened, I've seen a lot of revenue come in my clothing business. As soon as, like, that happened, a lot of people just went kind of like scrambling to help other Black entrepreneurs in a time of need. And I've seen like the sales of my clothing the last month have been like more than like the whole year, or more than like last year. Like it's been a crazy surge and rush to, oh, like I have a Black friend, and he's been asking for help for a year or whatever. Let me go support his business. And so I think the word help can go in many different ways. A lot of people don't have the money to spend on a piece of clothing to help or go to a restaurant and help a Black-owned business. But they can do other things. Hey, do you need help creating your clothing? Do you need me to come over and kind of help you organize your clothing closet or something like that? Something simple, something free. It doesn't have to be anything too crazy, but just helping in any type of way. Like, for another example, after the crazy riots that happened in the streets of Oakland, the next day a lot of people went out there and started helping businesses board up, clean up the streets and stuff. So that's just a simple thing. And that's the word I'm kind of feeling. We need those white allies to kind of help us grow. Yeah,
definitely.
That's good. I think my word would be now. So I say now because I feel like the time is now. If we sit back and we're complacent, like, we'll just let this time go by, and before you know it, you're going to be like, oh, I remember that during that time, what happened? What did I do? Oh, I didn't do anything. So I think that the word now just really holds us accountable to act now, whether that is like what you mentioned, helping other businesses or using our voice or whatever the talent it is. Like I believe that we're all born with some talent, and some people take longer to figure out what that is, but whatever that talent is, it can be used, and I believe it can be used now.
Help now. I like that.
Good one.
Yeah.
Back to back. Look at that. Mike, what you got? Help now, please. What you got?
Nah, my word would be consistency. I would definitely say consistency. I just feel like one of my biggest things and one of my my biggest fears is just that like people will just kind of just let the movement go, like a trend. And I know I mentioned that early in the podcast, but I think that like people are doing a really good job, especially people in my circle. Are doing a really good job. The last 3 weeks, we've been out protesting. Me and my girlfriend and her family. We've been protesting, donating, buying from Black businesses, going to Black restaurants, and trying to educate people. Trying to use our social media platform and our friend groups to educate people on signing petitions and everything that's going on. And I just want others who are doing that, because I do see a lot of other people doing that, but I just want people to stay consistent in their efforts and not just do it for a couple weeks, and when it's not trending to stop doing it. So the biggest thing for me is consistency and not to let the movement die, because as Black people, there's so many stories that people have, there's so many incidents that people have been through that go unheard, and it's not a trend for us. So it's definitely not a trend for us. So I would just love to see like our allies that are pushing now during the movement to keep on pushing when it's not trending on Twitter, when it's not trending on Instagram, when it's not trending
when it's not Blackout Tuesday.
Yeah, when it's not Blackout Tuesday. So when people stop protesting, when the protests die down, like that's what I want to see. So consistency is my word. And that's the biggest thing that I just want to see from people.
It's not a moment. It's a movement.
Yeah.
Right. That's how it goes. Well, hey, I appreciate it, Danae, of you joining us. I wish you could be sitting at the table, but it's coronavirus, and you're in Florida anyway. So, but
Yeah.
I truly do appreciate you willing to speak with us. Yeah, and you stay safe out there. I know. Yeah, I know Florida's crazy right now, so y'all don't listen. We don't either, though. So.
We don't. We don't live in fear. That's all it is.
I see y'all on the beach and everything. 4th of July is gonna be terrible for y'all. We're gonna go right back in the shelter in the place.
Man.
But yeah, be safe out there, and we appreciate it. Definitely stay connected.
Yeah.
Anything you gotta say, Mike?
Both. You guys are doing a great job and continue what you're doing. Keep it up. I'm happy that you all called me, and I'm excited to see what happens for you guys in the future, too.
Yeah, thank you so much. We definitely appreciate that. It was definitely a great conversation. Thank you for your time, and yeah, hopefully we can get you in here next time.
Yeah.
Have a good Sunday, Danae. We'll talk soon.
You too.